Hello, fourth graders. How's everybody doing? Today is Tuesday the 16th. Pull up our agenda. All right, so on the stream, you have your agenda right here. All right, so today, Tuesday, we started off talking about how we join and separate angles. Our independent work was on page 510. For the independent work, you can record your answers in Google Classroom. There is a Monday through Friday math recording sheet, and when you click on this, today's Tuesday, so page 510, you're doing questions 7 through 12 and recording. You're going to put either A, B, C, or D for your answer choice, so you type that there. So make sure your Monday got done and your Tuesday for today. And then there is a website right here where you can do self-checks. And this is reviewing measuring angles. So when you click on this, you have different angles that are measuring different degrees. So you can take this protractor, and when you click and hold it down, you can move it around. So again, remember, you have to, right here at the origin, this has to be lined up perfectly at the vertex right here. Otherwise, you're going to get the incorrect amount. So if you have this lined up perfectly there, and it's lined up at 0 here, and it's right on that baseline, then you're ready to start counting. So we're using the inner scale because it's open to the right. So we're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 65. Type in your 65. Once you fill all this out, you can click on this button here at the bottom, and it'll tell you, it'll give you a little check mark if you got it correct or not. So when you're done with this protractor on this page, you can click it and come over to the next one. And as you're doing this, double check, make sure. So if this is a 40-degree angle, notice it hits at 40 and 140. So it's hitting at both of those points, but I'm using the inner scale, and this is an acute angle, so I know that it's the 40, not the 140. So again, I can check myself and make sure that I'm doing that correct, that I get the right number. So look at the type of angle first and already have it in your head. Okay, I know this needs to be less than 90, or I know this needs to be greater than 90 by how it looks compared to that 90-degree right angle. All right, so that is just for practice there, but please make sure that that 510 gets done and entered in Google Classroom. For small group today, we continued working on our benchmark review, going over some previous topics that we've talked about in the past. And so the lesson, let me bring up a whiteboard here. So our lesson is about how we join, where's my favorite one? Here it is how we join and bring together different angles. Will have a part whole, so either a part is missing or a whole is missing. All right, let's see. Do we have to log in now? Let's see here. All right, they changed it up on me. All righty, so let's get a pin here. So let's say that we have this angle, and this angle is measuring 90 degrees. And let's go ahead and put some points on here. So let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C. And let's say we've got an angle that's formed when this ray comes out there, and we've got AB. Let's make this D. And let's say this is a 30-degree angle, and we need to find what angle DBC is. We don't know. So here we have to decide, What are we given? Are we given parts? Are we given wholes? What kind of information did this give us? So here I'm going to make my little strip diagram. And because this has got that 90-degree angle right here, I know that since this angle right here is on the outside, that's my hole. And my hole has been broken into two parts. So I've got one part that's 30 degrees, and then this other part, I don't know. So whenever you have a total and you have a part, but you're missing the other part, you're going to take your whole, subtract the part that you know, and that's going to give you your missing part. So 60, I can check myself, 60 plus 30 is 90. So I know that that adds up correctly. So this part would be 60 degrees. So sometimes you're given a hole, like it may say something like, let me make this a little bit bigger. Let's say that our angle looked more like this, and it wasn't a right angle. So let me put some different numbers in here. All right, so let's say we've got this obtuse angle now, and let's make this, that looks like about maybe a 60-degree angle, we'll say. And all right, so let's say now, let's make it a little bit different. So now we've got an obtuse angle for our total. So let's say that our angle ABC is 130 degrees. We've got this part that is 60 degrees, and we want to know what this missing ABD is. We're not sure what that angle is. So now it told us the total. So it said ABC is 130, meaning all of this opening is 130 degrees. So that's my total. And if 60 of it is the DBC, then this ABD I'm missing. So I'm going to subtract 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I get 70. So this piece right here would be 70, and 70 and 60 is 130. So those two pieces here need to add up to the total. All right, so that's when you have a part missing. The other part of this is when you're given both of your parts, and you might be missing the total. So let's go like this. Let's say we've got this here, and let's call this A, B, C, and D again. Put some points on here. All right, so let's say that DBC, let's say that that's a 75-degree angle. Let's say that ABD, let's say that that's a 55-degree angle. So we're trying to find ABC. So what is ABC? Well, now I notice that I know ABD is 55 and I know DBC is 75, but I don't know this ABC, this total part. That part is missing. So on my strip diagram, whenever I go to make this, I've got 55, 75, and this part missing. So I'm going to take 55 and 75, add them together. 5 and 5 would be 10, 7 and 6 would be 13, so 130 would be that total from this A all the way over to C. So when you have two parts, you want to combine them, you're going to add them together, and that'll give you your total. The other thing is sometimes you may have a couple. So it may not just always be two parts. Sometimes you can have more. So that would look like, let's make our angle go this way now. So what if we had something like this? Let's say this is 20, this is 45, and this is 50. So now if I'm trying to find my total, so I've got all these parts, and I don't know this part right here. So I'm going to take my 50, my 45, my 20, and I'm going to add those up, and that'll give me my total. Okay, so sometimes you might have 3 parts. You can also have this, let me take this off. You could also have a part missing and be given the total. So let's say from here to here, the total, let's say it's 170. Well, on your strip diagram, this is what it looks like. So you've got 170 for your total. It's broken into 3 parts. So one part is 45, one part is 20, and one part is missing. So we want to go ahead and combine these 2 parts. So 45 and 20 would give us that 65. And then we don't know this missing piece. So we've combined this. So this is like one part now because we've combined it. So now instead of saying 45 and 20, it's just 65. And then we're still missing this other part. So just like we did before, you would do the 170 minus 65. 65 is 5 away from 70, and you're 100, so 105. So sometimes you have to combine first and then subtract. But this all goes back to just basic part whole. So just think about, whether the pieces, those angles that you have, whether they're wholes, whether they're parts. And you guys have been working on this type of part whole since first grade. So just think about, what it means when you've got the parts versus the wholes, and you'll be just fine. And then pay attention. I didn't put points on this one, but pay attention to those points and make sure you get the right angles, and be on the lookout for those ones where it's a 90-degree angle, because it's only going to show you the square here. It's not going to, it may say that angle ABC is a 90-degree angle, or ABC is a right angle. It's not going to give you the 90 degrees. You're just going to have to know when you see that symbol, you know that this is a 90-degree angle. So if you have 2 parts, A and B have to add up to 90 degrees. Same thing with a straight angle. If you're given a straight angle and you're given, let's say, these here, and you've got A, B, C, A, B, and C are going to add up to 180 degrees, because that's how much a straight angle is. Okay, so keep in mind those that we talked about when we first started with angles. Alrighty, so that was the lesson today. Tomorrow we are going to continue working with unknown angle measurements, so we'll continue reviewing. We'll review everything on Thursday, and then we'll take our assessment on Friday. So make sure if you have any questions on what we're going over, please either go back and watch the videos that I've recorded, or please let me know in class, okay? All right, next up in reading, we continued our benchmark review. So we have been working on context clues, Greek and Latin root and affixes, inferencing, dictionary usage, figurative language, poetry. So we've been playing a game with that, so we continued our game. And I think the boys are in the lead right now. So we'll play again tomorrow, and we'll try to finish up and see who our final winner is. And then we have our benchmark testing on Thursday. So we're continuing to review for that. Then in Seesaw, we went over here to activities, and we went to week 27 reading. All right. So we yesterday we read yesterday we read Night Flyers. This was all about the bats. And this second article that it's paired up with, A Sweet Part of Nature, it goes along the same kind of similar, but just with bees instead of the bats. So in the bee story, it talked about the different types and how many there are and so on, and it talks about these bats that we have here in San Antonio. And then it goes on to talk about, how there's many benefits to them, about how their droppings make great fertilizers, they eat lots of insects, they do all these great things, but they're endangered because we're developing land, we're building houses, benefit businesses, so we're destroying their homes, and they don't have places to when they're flying around. They don't have places to stop and rest with all the trees that we're taking down. So it's talking about things that you can do to give back to bats. Well, in this new one, this is paired because it goes along the same thing. So it starts talking about different bees, or no, I'm sorry, it starts talking about the bees. It starts talking about how their population is declining, so they also are having trouble. And then it talks and gets into why we need them. So it talks about all their benefits that they have. It talks about how humans can help, just like it did in this right here, giving back to the bats. There's a whole section about like what humans can do, and then after that, so these were the questions that went with Night Flyers. And then, so that was P1 stands for passage one. And then this next section is on the sweet part of nature. So this is all the passage two. So we worked on these and then in group today, and did kind of similar to what we did yesterday. So make sure 17, 18, 19, and 20 are completed. And then we later on during intervention time, we came down, where were we? We finished the price of progress. There was a couple questions on here, 7 and 8 that we finished. And then we skipped the wild hogs. We went to page 11 and did what's that for. So this is all different animals, and they're all bizarre, crazy, weird looking animals. And there's certain things that make them unique. So we went through and read about those, and then we broke off into groups and worked on questions 1 through 10. So you've got 1 and 2 here on the bottom, and then 3 through 10 on this next page. So um, make sure that that gets finished up if you missed class today. Everybody, they either were really close to finishing or they only have maybe 1 or 2 left. So try to work on that. You can draft that when you're done with that. And then, all right, so here we just switched these paths. They wanted to do the what's that for, so we just switched those. So we'll do Wild Hogs of Texas tomorrow. And then in writing, we continued looking at our writings from last week, and we did our writing March Madness and went head to head with the different body paragraphs. And so we came up with a winner for that. And just remembering when you're writing your body, the things that we noticed is some of the body paragraphs that we had written, it was not clear at all. There's a very specific prompt. It tells you exactly what you need to do. You have to stick to it. You can't sway away from it. You have to stick to that prompt. So if it says, to talk about what you're looking forward to and explain why you're looking forward to it, you just reply and you do just that. So some of our responses, they were confusing. We didn't know what you meant. You have to be very direct, very clear, straight to the point, and you just respond. So like, if someone asks you, hey, what are you looking forward to, and you say, oh, I'm looking forward to spring break because I'm going to go on a camping trip, just explain why. Okay, so why are you looking forward to doing that? I'm looking forward to it because we're going to go hiking and we're going to go swimming, and then you just tell about those things in detail. So the ones that did really well and that were getting voted on, they were clear, they were straight to the point, and they answered the prompt. So That's the biggest part, and then of course the conventions and all the other things that go with it need to be there as well. All right, convention review. We went to Seesaw here, and we did this in group with our fortnight questions here. So this week we're working on apostrophes, quotation marks, commas. So these are all things that we've talked about. So this is all just review. So if you move these orange boxes, they have some anchor charts and just different little reminders that you can read through. So some of these are with the quotation marks. So make sure you get through those, and we'll continue that tomorrow. And then let's see here. All right, magnetism. All right, so these two links right here are what we did for science. So these are different simulations that you can go in, and you can move around the different magnets. So when you click on this, you have to make sure that you're logged into Launchpad. So go to Launchpad first, click, let me do this, Fox Run. All right, so you have to make sure you're logged into Discovery Education first. So type in and go ahead and open it. Then once it's open, then go ahead and come back here and click on that. Click on that. And all right, so this one here, click on magnets, and you're testing out different objects. So we were talking about, yesterday we watched a video, and it was describing the different materials that, Rhea, shh, take your ball out there. Go, hey, go, go, shoot. Different materials that oh goodness, she sneezed with the ball in her mouth. All right. Different materials that the magnets are attracted to. So, for example, if you tried the wood and you dragged it over, it's not going to be attracted. But if you take something like steel, the wrench, it's going to attract because it's made of iron. So you can try out the different things there, and then the other one is talking about, it's explore magnets with iron filings. So you can take these iron filings and you get to choose what kind of magnets, what kind of arrangement you want. So just pick one, and you can click to rotate them. So right now I've got south and south. I can rotate them and make north and south together. Then I'm going to take these iron filings, click them and hold, and then you drop them down, and then you can click the piece of paper and tap it until you see this little green thing come up here, and you can read that. So you can see here, you've got these loops going around the magnet. You can see that magnetic field. You can see where the iron filings are. You've got these clusters near the poles because the poles are where they're strongest at. So it says the magnetic field changes as the position of the magnets change. So go ahead, try different arrangements, try different positions, and take note of how these appear on the page, how they look differently as you change the arrangements. And it says, unlike poles attract each other, like poles repel each other. So here we've got unlike. So we've got the south and the north pole. So these are unlike poles. So these would be attracted to each other. And if I changed it and I had the blue and blue or the red and red together, those would be like poles, and those would repel, meaning they'd push away from each other. Magnets attract iron. With every tap, the iron filings arrange themselves more tightly along the magnetic field. Depending on whether the magnets attract or repel, the magnet field formed is different. All right, so if you go back and you change the arrangement, you hit reset, or you can hit change and go back here and choose something different. So, I'm going to go. let's do two the same now. So this is a different arrangement, but I meant to click the same thing, but you can try different ones. So try it one way, look how it looks, and then reset it, and then try rotating it, and then do it again, tap, 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 and look at the differences with the different arrangements and different settings on there. And then in social studies today, we you've got this Google Doc here that discusses why railroads were important. And so you can click on that. And then we went over together the article and the questions. So in Google Classroom, when you go to classwork, you have your social studies assignment right here on railroads. And you've got page 2 was Monday. Page 3 and 4 are Tuesday. So, why were railroads needed in Texas in the 1800s? And then in the section called The Boom Begins, what does the word boom mean? And then why are many Texas towns about 30 miles apart from each other? So, your article is right here. So, click on that and follow along, and just be thinking about, how railroads really changed just communities. You have people looking for work, for jobs to support their family, and these railroads brought in a lot of, they really got started a lot of different businesses. So think about the lumber industry and how it changed and really started with this big boom of the just think if you've got all this lumber and you are trying to sell it, well, it's heavy and it's huge, and it's going to be very difficult for you to transport it to, a faraway place. But if you have a railroad, now you can load it up. Now you can travel across the country, and you can sell to lots of different people. So a lot of things kind of took off with the increase of different railroads. And so a lot of people came to Texas to be a part of that. When they came, people come with all of their culture and their traditions, and so a lot of new things were coming into Texas. So click on the article and read all about that, and then make sure you get those 3 questions solved for social studies. And then again, you've got on the agenda, you can click the Google Doc here and continue reading about railroads there. And then for enrichment, we did, that was when we went over that reading passage and the what's that for. And that summed up our Tuesday. So tomorrow, make sure you wear your green. We'll continue going over Ingalls, continue doing our review. We'll do the wild hog passage. We'll finish up our conclusions. We'll go head to head with our conclusions. We'll wrap up those. We'll try to have some more time to work on those convention practice and go over those together. And then in science, we're going to talk about temperature, and then we're going to go backwards a little bit and do some practice with measuring on the triple beam balances and with the temperature. And then in social studies, we'll continue talking about the railroads, and then that'll be our Wednesday. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.